Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Lisa Sims Booth, a seasoned professional with over 2 decades of experience in media, politics, and advocacy. Throughout her career, Lisa continues to demonstrate a deep commitment to serving others, driving positive change, and championing efforts to improve lives and advance medical research. During her tenure at Faster Cures, Lisa navigated both professional success and personal challenges, which fueled her dedication to cancer advocacy and patient support, leading her to make meaningful contributions at the Biden's Cancer Initiative. Today, we are privileged to have Lisa join us as she shares her valuable insights and expertise. Please join me in giving her a warm round of applause as she takes the stage.
Thank you so much for that wonderful welcome. And hello, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. And I know I have a hard act to follow, which is lunch, but I'll try to just share a few nuggets with you. But first, I want to share my own personal thanks to Tamika, who's I'm sure here somewhere, that just to thank her for including me on this special occasion to bring people together. I want to start with my personal story. In 2011, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. We never had any cancer in our family. And so all of a sudden it was like, what is this? What do you mean? And in true fashion, my mom told me by saying, they tell me I have ovarian cancer, click. That's how she told me. She hung up the phone. And so that thrust me and her and our family into a world that I had not known. At the same time, I'd just gotten a job at an organization called Faster Cures, which was focused on the barriers to getting the cures for diseases faster. And so while I'm living through this thing with my mom, I'm also now immersed in this other world. And that led me to the passion I feel for patient advocacy, for cancer advocacy, and really fueled my work at the Biden Cancer Initiative before I became the executive director at the Smith Center for Healing and the Arts, which is a DC-based health, education, and arts organization. The focus at Smith Center is about healing, not curing, but healing the whole person, healing so you find your place for resilience, for strength, and finding you again in the midst of this challenge that you're facing with the cancer diagnosis, because you are still you, but now you're dealing with this whole other thing that you don't know how it happened, what happened, how you're going to manage it. And so we try to provide healing practices that you can use to face through this challenge. And we do this in two ways, which are critical. And people have already touched on them this morning at the discussion we just heard. And the power is in connection, and we believe in the arts. You need community, because what a lonely moment that you're feeling. And I know I felt that during my mom's journey. There were moments where I wanted to like strangle her. And I was frustrated, I was scared, but I couldn't tell my mom that. She's going through treatment. I wish I'd had a place where I could go. Well, we offer caregiver support groups where I could turn around and say, do you ever want to like, to your family member? And I'm sure they would be like, yes, I felt that. But I had so much shame in that. But community and connection is with the heart of finding our way to wholeness and strength, which is why we offer professionally facilitated support groups. We provide healing circles, which are peer-led. And we also have a wealth of we also provide patient navigation, so you can get your questions answered by someone who is supportive and has been in the journey before. We want to offer you a place for people to find the support they need. You have your care team, but where is your team? And if you don't have and I know you'll have family networks and other networks, Smith Center is that place where you can find that other support. And we don't tell you what you need to do. We look at it this way. We offer a wealth of programming, and we want you to create your own healing basket. So maybe you like our yoga, and maybe you like our arts and wellness programming, or our stress reduction, or our nutrition programming. I'm just naming a few of the things we offer. You create what works for you, because we want you to find what's going to help you tap into that inner self that's still there. And so you can find the support you need. This next panel is going to talk a lot about resources and walking through with resilience and confidence. We want to help you find that resilience. We want to help you find that strength. And that's why we talk about healing the whole person. The other place we really focus on is the healing power of the arts, because we all are creative, innate beings. And sometimes that little creative spark gets squashed a little bit because all of a sudden we're not doing that perfectly and we're not doing it this way. And so we kind of let that part of us sometimes go. But we know that when we offer people the chance to paint or write poetry or do something like that, they light up. You know, you find strength in that, and you can express some of those things that you're wrestling with in the art on paper. And that also gives you the strength to go into that next treatment appointment or have that conversation you need to have because you've been able to tap into that place of yourself. You know, so our whole mission is to help you find your way, to help you find you while you're going through this. And we say, and our tagline is always, no one has to go through this journey alone. So our programming is free and low cost. And even though we're based in DC because of the pandemic, our friend, the pandemic, all of our programs are now virtual. So we have people joining us from all over. And so if you're interested in finding those kind of arts programming, if they don't have those sorts of supports in your community, I would love to chat with you. I'm going to be here all day and part of tomorrow about what some of our programs offer. But what we really are trying to say is we need to not just focus on your physical well-being, but your spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being is critical as you go through this journey. It's why your care team is helping you focus on that physical part. Find that community. I love the conversation we just had, just talked just about that very thing. So I thought it was a nice sort of segue into what we do at Smith Center every day. And that's try to help people find that. And I think that's why Tamika and the team wanted me to talk about, just don't forget all of you in this process and find ways to take care of your mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being so you can walk through this journey that you're on, you know, as the best you in that moment you can be. And so if you, I don't want to ramble on forever because I love the work that I'm doing. But what I do know is that community is the key. And so find your community. We offer support groups I know Survivor has a lot of resources. We offer all sorts of support groups. We offer programming for young adults because young adults are facing very different challenges than older, I don't want to say older because I am older people who are in their cancer journey. Because we're talking about still having your career. Maybe you're trying to finish college. You know, you're trying to date. You're trying to do all these things. And you want to talk about those things. And so we have support and programming for young adults because they're facing very unique challenges. And they sometimes you young adults in the room get a little left behind in those conversations. But we just want to be a support. But what I want to ask you to think about is just how are you taking care of the rest of you? How are you taking care of your soul, your mind, body, spirit? And if you're not, I'd be happy to chat with you about some of our programs or help connect you with other resources you might be in your own community, because the rest of the panel is going to talk about very important things around more tangible things that you might need. But don't forget to look at all of you in this moment as well, because all of you and the wholeness is going to get you through this path. And so I thank you for your moments to hear me. I look forward to catching up with all of you. Like I said, I'll be around. But don't forget that you are more than cancer. And I hope that by doing art or writing or journaling or whatever, music, whatever makes you happy, don't forget who you are. And one day at a time. And I hope you find your community. And if we can help you in any way at Smith Center, I'd be thrilled to talk to you more about that. Thank you so much.
Oh, right. You gonna choose the panel?
Thank you so much, Lisa. I want to introduce our moderator for this panel, Anna Reyes. And she will also be joined by Joanna Fawzy, I believe virtually, and is it Devin Traxler? I hope that's right. My apologies.
Thank you. Is this one? Thank you. And Lisa, I'm going to invite you to come back up here, please. That was amazing. And I really love how you touched on how personal the care needs to be. Self-care needs to be personal for every single person. I want to give Joanna and Devin, are they on?
I'm here. Hi.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome. And I think we have some slides from each of you that I'm going to let you go through, and then we'll do some Q&A. So if we could get the next slide, please. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be with you all today. I'm Joanna Doran. I'm the CEO of Triage Cancer, and I was asked to talk a little bit about Triage Cancer's free programs and services. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Triage Cancer. And we are a national nonprofit organization that provides free education on all of the legal and practical issues that come up as a result of a cancer diagnosis. And as you can imagine, those can be lots of different things. It looks like you're not seeing what I'm seeing on the screen. So I just want to make sure that you all have access to the slides.
We can see the slides.
Okay, great. So then at Triage Cancer, people often ask us, well, what's legal about cancer? And I always get kind of a funny look from people when I tell people I'm a cancer rights attorney. And people then ask the question, what's legal about cancer? And my answer back is actually everything. Whether or not the Food and Drug Administration approves a particular treatment is a legal issue. Whether or not your insurance company pays for that drug is a legal issue. Whether or not you get to take time off work or work through treatment to get access to that treatment, those are legal issues. And so they're often things that we don't really think of as legal issues, but the laws provide protections and benefits and programs that we can access. And so at Triage Cancer, our goal is to provide education on those topics to make sure that people understand what their rights are so that they can best navigate all of these legal systems that come up as a result of a cancer diagnosis. Now, most of the legal issues that come up are also financial issues. And we talk about this term financial toxicity, where we're talking about the burden of the cost of a cancer diagnosis. And at Triage Cancer, we actually think the #1 contributor to financial toxicity is having adequate health insurance coverage. But understanding how to use your insurance once you have it, understanding your employment rights and how to tap into disability insurance, and understanding your bigger picture financial situation are all things that can contribute to financial toxicity, which is part of the reason why it's a hard problem to solve, because there are so many factors. But unfortunately, the health insurance system in the United States is pretty complicated, and no one really understands it. And we spend a lot of time as consumers buying things. So we might spend 2 hours researching a new computer, or 10 hours buying a new car, or even 5 hours planning a new vacation. But we spend in the United States 15 minutes or less purchasing health insurance coverage. And partly it's because no one really understands how to do that effectively. Now, in the United States, there's only 3 places where we get our health insurance coverage, either from an insurance company, through the government, or from an employer. And a lot of people who get their health insurance coverage through an employer think that that's the only option available to them. But at Triage Cancer, we feel really strongly that you need to know all of your health insurance options so that you can actually pick the best plan for you and try to address some of that financial burden that I mentioned. But as I mentioned, knowledge is actually a hurdle to being able to do that. And I just want to give you a quick example of how knowledge is a hurdle when you have health insurance coverage, but your insurance company denies coverage for the care that you've been recommended to receive by your healthcare team. So you have a right to appeal that denial, but only 0.1% of people do that. Which means if there were 48 million claims denied in 2021, 99.9% of people actually took no for an answer. So this is a pretty good example of where we want people to know how they can advocate for themselves to not only get access to the care that they need, but also to mitigate some of that financial toxicity. So you aren't paying out of pocket for care that your insurance company should have paid for. So that's just an example of where it's so important for you to understand what your rights are so that you can navigate the system effectively. And at Triage Cancer, we have lots of tools and resources to help you do that. We provide free educational events. We have a monthly webinar series that provides education on a variety of different topics. We have an upcoming webinar on January 30th, specifically on understanding health insurance. And then we have one coming up in February on managing medical bills and getting financial help. And you don't have to attend live. You can actually watch the recordings, which we have available on our website as well. And then we have a 2-day conference series that we host twice a year. And the first one in 2024 will happen on May 17th and 18th. And this is a jam-packed day, 2 days full of information on all of these topics and more. And then on our website, we sort information in 2 ways. We sort by location, so specific to where you live, but then we also have resources by topic. So if you wanted to understand all of the information we had on work and cancer, for example, you could go to that page and see all the different types of resources. And those resources include quick guides and checklists and worksheets, but they also include an animated video series and our practical guide to cancer rights and our Triage Cancer podcast series. We also know that attending events and reading about things online or watching webinars sometimes isn't enough to get all of your individual questions answered. And so we have our free legal and financial navigation program. And this is where you can contact us for help understanding what your rights and options are related to insurance or finances or employment or estate planning or any of the other topics that might come up for you. And again, this is free. You can fill out a form on our website and then pick a time to talk with our staff at your convenience. And then we will have an appointment with you. And then if you want to stay on top of what's happening in the cancer community, we provide an educational blog which talks about different topics related to cancer and the law, but it also shares information about what's happening across the country. So if there are new laws being proposed to protect you, this is where we're sharing that information. And then we also have a monthly newsletter which provides updates on any new resources that we've created and upcoming educational events. So I'm looking forward to talking with you all.
Thank you so much. This is an incredible resource that I had never heard of before, so I'm very excited to go and check it out. Can we do the next slide, please? Thank you.
That's me. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, first and foremost, for having me here today virtually. My name is Devin Traxler Burkhart, and I'm the Senior Manager of Program Development at Family Reach. And I would just like to start with introducing you to our mission. If we could go to the next slide. Thank you. Family Reach is a national nonprofit that provides non-medical financial support to help patients and families afford their basic needs during cancer treatment. So patients like Wendy, a thyroid cancer survivor, seen here with her family. And on the next slide, I'd like to discuss why we do what we do. Research shows that 1 in 3 families are unable to afford their basic needs during cancer treatment, which impacts their chance of survival. If you can't meet your basic needs, it's naturally going to be hard to prioritize cancer treatment. Okay, just caught up on the chat. It's the questions, right, of do I pay my rent this month or my co-pays, or do I buy food or this anti-nausea medication I really need? And these are not choices that anyone should have to be making while they're in cancer treatment. They should be focused on the treatment and getting better. And this is a national crisis that impacts so many people, but many people don't talk about it, or they don't realize it's a problem because they've never experienced it. To Joanna's point before, right? Health insurance is very confusing. And I hear all the time people say, well, doesn't insurance cover, X, Y, Z? And it's like, it's very complicated, unfortunately. So one of the most important things, and what I really wanted to ground this kind of part of my talk in, is that we at Family Reach really want to wipe out this shame and let people know that you are not alone. you did nothing wrong. There's no way to plan for cancer, nor should anyone have to. And the system has failed and it has let you down. So in order to support patients kind of navigating all of this, we focus on free financial resources. We work with patients and caregivers and healthcare professionals directly, as well as with partners across the country to reach patients where they're at in their communities so that patients can access our programs from people that they know and trust. We have personalized support where we work directly with patients and caregivers to help understand what are your financial needs? What are the bills that are causing stress this month or since you started treatment? And provide personalized information about grants and different programs that may help cover those non-medical costs. There are a lot of resources out there, but it can be and is very overwhelming to find them and reach out to them and connect with them while you're also going through treatment and having to focus on all of the other medical stuff. So we really want to help with that and make it a little easier on people. We also create educational resources. We have free guidebooks and tip sheets that are designed to help people talk about their financial concerns with their healthcare team and to help manage money during treatment. So we might have a tip sheet that kind of gives some advice on how do I tell my social worker that I am struggling this month with my rent, or how do I manage my electric bill when it is freezing cold and I need to have my heat on really high, things like that. And when available, we do offer financial assistance for non-medical expenses. I have to plug, keep an eye on our website, familyreach.org, as we open new funds or as we create new educational materials or resources. That's where those things are going to be found. And you guys are getting a little spoiler that we are going to be launching a sort of resource database soon. I don't know if database is the correct word, but it's my word, that will be on our website as well. So if people are, it's 3 a.m. and you're awake and on your phone and no one's working, you can at least kind of have somewhere to look and send yourself some resources and things like that. Anyways, and thank you. So to bring it kind of all together, I wanted to show some of the data that shows why we do what we do and why we focus on these non-medical expenses. So we have done surveys and worked with patients and caregivers across the country and tried to learn from them. And what we've learned is that over half of their main financial concerns are these basic needs of housing, including utilities, food, and transportation. And we know that people can't access treatment if they're struggling to afford housing or gas for their car. We'll talk to people who say, I want to go to treatment, but my gas is on empty and I cannot afford it. And that's a barrier to care, and that we think is unacceptable. And so we really want to try and help people find ways to pay for these non-medical costs so they don't become barriers to life-saving care. And I just wanted to kind of close out this intro to Family Reach on the next slide with a quote from a family that we've worked with. Her name is Shellick. She's a 47-year-old single mom and was connected to Family Reach through her treatment center. And she told us, each time I open the mail, I have a new bill. And it's great to have help with expenses so you can decide on life. And at Family Reach, we really hope that until we get into the world where no one does have to make the decision between all of these different bills and treatment, we can help people with their expenses, find ways to manage all of the bills at home, and make sure they can get to treatment without worrying about those costs, empower people to advocate for themselves or their loved ones in the medical office, and work with healthcare professionals and vendors across the country so that they see that this is a problem as well. That's all for my intro. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also was a single parent when I was diagnosed with cancer and was lucky enough that my family lived close by and I was able to move in with my parents. And I have always been very grateful for that, because I don't know how I would have been able to pay my rent, take care of my children, and get through treatment. So thank you for sharing that resource. It's very important. I am, in my other life, a single mom of 2 teenage boys, so pray for me. And in my work life, I deal with employee health and wellness, which is a passion of mine now. And we do a lot of work around self-care. One of the things that I talk to the employees that I work with is that self-care, when we think about it, it's bubble baths and meditations, and those are great if that is what is stressing you out and if that's going to be what causes you relief. But if I could get the next slide, self-care, actually, there are many different facets that we need to pay attention to. And unless you are really tapping into what it is that is stressing you out, you aren't going to know how you can address it. And that's going to look very different. So if I'm stressed out about my finances, taking a bubble bath is probably not going to make me feel any better about it. But meeting with a financial planner or going onto one of these websites that we just saw may actually be a form of self-care for me. If I am miserable in my career, then taking a college class is a form of self-care because it's moving me in a different direction. And again, doing a meditation might make me feel more calm, but it's not going to get to that root cause. So I think thinking about the root cause of what is causing you to feel unwell, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, really thinking about what that root cause is and addressing that means that you are doing self-care. And so reimagining what that can look like so that it's actually helping you. I have the next slide. Okay, so this is an actual picture of me. Because it's not that easy. I mean, it's easy to say, I'm gonna do yoga classes and I'm gonna meditate and I'm gonna meet with a financial planner and excel in my career and take care of my children and advocate for cervical cancer awareness. And then I'm gonna do some self-care along the way. It's not that easy. And I truly want to acknowledge that it is not that easy. And so I would love to hear from the people on our panel what ways you feel like, especially we as women who often feel a lot of guilt when we're taking time for ourselves, how can we overcome that and make self-care a priority?
I mean, I'll certainly jump on just to say that I think we have to use the airport analogy, right? Put the oxygen mask on you before you help others. And so if you're depleted and you can't be there for all these things right here, so I think that's the most important thing is you have to take care of yourself or you can't be there for your family, at all. So I would encourage that. And I think your point is very well taken about, taking those actions, whether it's finding out about the resources from Family Reach and about, the financial worries or whatever it is, like, and then back to what I was saying earlier about then having community and then having someone to talk to you about, I'm really concerned about those things. So I think that getting that out and the actions kind of go together.
Thank you. I know we are getting short on time, so I would love to open it up to a question from the audience.
I'm so sorry. If you could please ask your questions via the parking lot, we would greatly appreciate it, and we'll do our best to get those questions answered for you. We're just trying to keep on moving, and I apologize, but thank you so much to our panel.
Thank you so much.